Admittedly, Odd Taxi was not on my radar whatsoever. But after seeing Nearly on Red was covering this series, I was like, wait, there's something actually here. Oh wait, it's got a mystery genre. I probably should check this out. And so far, I'm into it. I'm actually into this series, and it's not without its flaws. Do not get me wrong. I watched the first 3 episodes of it. I was going to watch the 4th episode, but it looks like it was kind of more into a side story of a character. But I'll eventually get into that eventually. But the first 3 episodes of Odd Taxi, and here is my thoughts on it so far. Odd Taxi is not your average anime. It's definitely so far. It's got its own art style to it. It's got the whole idea of having, animal characters that are in a modern human setting. It follows a guy named Odokawa, who is a taxi driver. He is like a walrus person, and he just kind of goes about his daily life, moving people from location to location. But in the background during this entire time, you have little stories that are slowly progressing, and it seems like they're getting to a point where they'll probably eventually converge. In the background, there's a story about a girl that has been kidnapped. We quickly find out that it seems like this girl that disappeared is actually at Odokawa's house. Not that he's forcing her to stay at the house, is that she's just apparently hiding away there. And he's like, you can leave whenever you want. You don't have to stay here. But she's kind of hiding away in one of his closets. And then he just goes back to work and does his job as a taxi driver. You also have like a growing story about this Nishikawa idol who is apparently working for somebody that seems to be doing shady stuff. You have essentially this Dobu guy who is a criminal, very well-known criminal who is basically just goes around and does collecting of different people who owe money. He is investigating where this girl went, and he obviously knows that Odokawa was the last taxi driver to, move her from one location to location. And then you have like this dirty cop Daimon who is, working for Dobu and this other group of kind of criminals. And then you have Eiji, who is kind of this friend of Odokawa, who's trying to find love, basically. This nurse that Odokawa visits on a regular basis that works for this doctor and his sleep issues. This kind of undertone of this past that Odokawa had. He's a middle-aged man, but it seems like there's some kind of history to him that we're slowly breadcrumbing about him. He was involved in an accident. It seems like Daimon, who is this police officer, knows him and knows that he was involved in something and that he may be involved in something. So it's got like these little kind of, like I said, little stories that are all kind of slowly being told. And like I said, it seems like they're converging here and there, and they might eventually come to a clash at some point. I think so far the thing that is really telling about this series is that it's doing its storytelling very well. I'm already really liking all these characters, and I can't really place it in a specific place. I think it's taking its time to tell these stories, and these characters feel very natural, and that's very surprising to say because they're all animal people, but they're all very kind of understandable. They're all very relatable in some way, and they all like I said, they all feel very natural. And I feel that's really due to the pacing that the story is telling the characters. It's doing a very excellent job of pacing the storytelling and introducing each of the characters. The only really thing that, like I said, this isn't without faults. The only thing is that sometimes the pacing feels too slow. And it feels at times that there's certain points that are wasted. There's a huge fascination that this creator has with this comedy duo that they keep playing on the radio, and they play it for extensive periods of time. And the comedy duo are spending so much time talking about, feedback, and they're talking about how they're not good comedians. And it's not funny. it's sadly, it's like, well, yeah, naturally, they think they're not funny, and people are saying they're not funny, and they are literally not funny. And it spends so much time with them. And I don't know if it's because the writer thinks that it's funny, that they think they're not funny, but it feels like so much wasted time. So many times that they were on the radio or in the car, I just wanted to skip. And I hate that when I'm watching a show. I hate the feeling that I want to skip. And I almost do. I never like to skip forward in a show because I'm afraid either one, I'm not going to give the scene a chance, or I'm going to miss something. But this show made me want to skip. those segments, and those were the worst parts of the show. The rest of the show, I loved. I loved every segment, and I'm intrigued, and I want to learn more about each one of these different characters. And like I said, there's so many characters, and I'm really interested to see how. Again, I'm getting the, and it's funny because naturally each of these stories aren't interesting. It's not that the idol girl story is going to be that fantastic. It's not that I feel like I'm going to be super intrigued by Edgy finding a girlfriend. It's the fact that I have a feeling that these are going to eventually converge, and they're already converging. I want to see how these are going to come to a head together, because obviously with the last episode, the third episode at the very end, you had Edgy, was this girl that he's been talking to, obviously has some kind of connections to this kind of group of guys that are working in the shadows that we've already seen. And I'm intrigued to see, and I was totally assuming that's where that direction that was going to go, and sure enough, it did. I'm interested to see how those converge, and I really like how this feels like a living, breathing world. And like I said, it really is a tribute to how they're telling the story and how they're transitioning scene to scene, and how they're showing these characters kind of cross paths here and there. Like, you'll see them in the background walking by as one character is meeting with another character. So it feels like a living, breathing world, and all these characters are in the city. And like I said, I really love how they're doing this so far. It's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, like it's a given. I will be definitely keeping up on the show. I am very tempted to make this on a weekly impressions, so look forward to that. I still have to technically get caught up completely, but I might leave that to when an episode releases, and I'll just get completely caught up, and then, like I said, cover that on a weekly basis, because I really do see this show doing stuff that's going to be very, very interesting going forward. By the way, I absolutely love the scene where Otakawa's in the taxi with the nurse, and he's asking if she's interested in somebody, and she's like, yeah. He's like, "Can you have a picture?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, 1 second." Takes the phone and hands it to him, and I totally thought that they would do some kind of trick there, but it was so cute how the way that was executed. I had to show Chris that I thought it was absolutely adorable, but. Yeah, goofy Brazilian jiu-jitsu kind of stuff. So much fun. I really do like the character so far, so it's absolutely working on all cylinders so far. Except for, like I said, the stupid comedy routines. It really is kind of, it brings it down a lot, but hopefully eventually they'll do something really cool with those characters. I look forward to that, so. Yeah, fantastic. It's an original series by OLM and PICS, so it's another kind of plus for me. I do love my original series, and the art style works really well with it. It does definitely have kind of still the trappings of an anime style with the animal characteristics, so it's definitely working, and I definitely look forward to more. So if you did like this impressions, definitely look forward to my weekly impressions. And let me know what you think of the series so far if you're going to check it out. I definitely do suggest giving it at least, I would say 2 episodes, I think, would definitely kind of give you a telling if you're going to like it or not. So don't give it just 1 episode. Give it 2 episodes, and you'll get a feel for it and know if you're going to like it or not. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Odd Taxi, the first 3 episodes. Technically, I peaked a little bit in the 4th episode, but I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions. If you did, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Leave a like if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I thank you all for watching, and y'all take care.